Excited to have with us today the head basketball coach, Greg Kampe, with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Thanks for being with us, Coach.
My pleasure, and you're right. The wrong team won. We wanted Miami to win. I wanted Kendrick to host that trophy, but what an exciting time to see that young man shine on the world stage. You know, the epitome of basketball. You know, the NBA Finals are the biggest stage there is, and to see a kid you coached do so well. He had an 18-point game. He had a 14-point game. So it was a lot of fun for me.
What's that mean to you as a coach to see one of your players reach it to that level?
Well, we had a kid a couple years ago named Kay Felder who was drafted by the Cavaliers, and he played a bunch during the season, and they got to the finals too, and he never got in. He didn't get to play in any of the games in the finals. So, it was just the next step to see Kendrick actually get in, and not only just get in, but to excel and to have a couple really big games. It was kind of neat that after Game 5, ESPN they interviewed him at halftime, and then after the game they interviewed him, and so when you see a kid reach their dreams and you got to be part of that, and you know the young man and what a great kid he is, and that it's a hard feeling to explain. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, it's because it's for him. But it still makes me feel really good that I was a small part of it.
Well, it's validation into what you're doing and all of the team members over there at Oakland University, because it goes beyond the game of basketball. It goes to teaching them about life skills as well. And I would imagine those life skills came into play as they're trying to play basketball during a pandemic.
Well, Kendrick was runner-up Rookie of the Year. And I don't know if you know this story or not, but he got COVID, and so he was sent home. And when he came back, Miami was playing so good that they had put somebody else in the starting lineup. And when he got back, he wasn't playing very much, and he was pretty down and disappointed. And we had communications, and we talked about it, and we just talked about staying positive, be the best teammate you can be, because your chance will come, something's going to happen, and you're going to get thrown out there. And if you handle it well and you're ready, that good things will happen. And sure enough, Dragic got hurt and in Game 1, and he went in and he scored 18 points in about 13 minutes in Game 1, and then he had his job back. So what you just said is true. I mean, the kid really did a great job of handling the adversity. Think about getting COVID, getting sent home, having to watch it on TV and that, and still come back and be able to not only compete, but help his team at a high level.
And the perseverance of Kendrick Nunn has just been exceptional to come in his rookie season and have as prolific of a season as he did have, and be a key part of that Miami Heat team that, for a lot of people, made a surprise run as far as they did in the playoffs and even into the finals, taking the Los Angeles Lakers, the eventual champions, to 6 games. And on top of all that, you wouldn't know if you didn't know, you wouldn't know just by watching that Kendrick Nunn was an undrafted player, and he came in and was a key player for this Miami Heat team this season.
Yeah, he was undrafted. We had a lot of talk with a lot of teams, and he's probably the best player out there that ever went undrafted. He had some questions. A lot of people questioned if he could play the point. At 6'2", he was a prolific scorer, but he wasn't a guy that really distributed the ball well and that. So they were concerned whether he could play the point or not. And in the NBA, the way they play that game, I'm not sure there is so much the true point guard anymore. It's just a guy that can handle the ball and pass. And Kendrick really proved this year that he can do that. Miami's offense is a very balanced offense, and he was able to. I think he averaged three assists a game too. So I think that's what everybody was concerned about, and he proved that he could do it. And he's got 1 year left on this contract, but his next contract's going to be, he's going to be set for life.
And Oakland's had these players that have gone on to have nice NBA careers after playing, of course, at OU. Guys like Kendrick Nunn, of course, now, Kay Felder shortly before, Keith Benson, Raul Marshall are other guys that come to mind. more and more as time goes on, we see more of these players from Oakland University being in the conversation of guys that you can bring on either as undrafted free agents if they don't go drafted, or they can play key roles on your summer league team, and some will even make your NBA roster. How much more over time have mid-major basketball players been able to come into the conversation with these NBA teams that either you have in communication with these coaches and with these players, or that these players get that attention? What do you think is the draw now to these players that are going on to have excellent careers, whereas before you wouldn't really be looked at as a player at a mid-major conference?
Yeah, I think that is, I'm not sure that's true, because I think that that's the perception. But if you're in the business and you really pay attention to it, you know that there's been a lot of really good players that have come from the mid-major or the small college level. And I'll give you an example. The greatest NBA team of all time, supposedly, I think the Warriors now would say that that's not true, but that Chicago Bull team that started Michael Jordan from North Carolina, Luke Longley from New Mexico, Ron Harper from Miami of Ohio, Scottie Pippen from an NAIA school, and Dennis Rodman from an NAIA school. So the greatest team of all time had 2 mid-major players, 2 small college players, and Michael Jordan. And then the 6th man was Tony Kukoc, who was from Europe. So I think today there's more media, there's more social media, there's more scrutiny into what people did and where they came from than there was back then. So I think that it's just now the light is shining on mid-major players. I mean, like you said, we've had 4 players in the past 12 years that have played in the NBA, which I think that's a pretty good number for a mid-major. And we're hoping to have 4 more in the next 10 years. I really believe that you can get there from anywhere. I think it's been proven. And I think kids nowadays are, what I'm finding is their goal is to play in the NBA. And any kid that we recruit, whether they're good or not, they believe that they're going to play in the NBA, and they're looking for an avenue to get there. And it's no longer, hey, I've got to go to Michigan State or Michigan or Duke or North Carolina to get there, because we can show them all these great players that are playing in the NBA that have come from Damian Lillard at Portland, Weber State. I mean, you can name 10, 12 of them. So I think you're dead right. I just think there's more media exposure now on it.
So with that extra media exposure that's on these players across the college basketball world at this point in time, and with the different style of play that we've seen emerge in the NBA over the last 5 to 10 years and in the college game over the last decade or so, you're an Oakland University lifer. Your career at Oakland University began when they were the pioneers. And now they're, of course, the Golden Grizzlies, and they've been for many years. Has coaching changed with the game, or is it kind of a similar situation where you're still building these young men into prolific basketball players and prolific people, and ultimately the game and the strategy follows it?
Well, I think, as in everything in life, there's change. And everybody wants to say the kids change, and I'm not sure the kids have changed. I just think the kids are taught different. I think we're products of our environment. So what they're used to today and how they grow up is really different than it was 30 years ago. And I myself have had to change of it. The tough love coaching is going away, and within 5 to 10 years it'll completely be gone. And the idea of having to explain why you're doing something, when I was playing years and years ago, if the coach said do it, you did it, and you never asked why. And your parents were the same way. If your parents told you to do something, you did it, you never asked why. And I think the biggest change in coaching is that society has changed, and it's almost you have to explain everything now to get somebody to do something. So as a coach, you've got to change your technique. You've got to change the way you get across your message, but it's still the same message. I mean, success doesn't, what you have to do to be successful doesn't change. I have a saying I use all the time with my players. The saying is, everybody wants to be great until they find out what they have to do to become great. And that's been a staple for 40 some years. And that, I don't think that'll ever change. But the way you deliver the message has to change. And kids buy in and they don't buy in, just like years and years ago, some bought in and some didn't. So the change is more in how you deliver things. I don't think the core message is a change. I hope I made sense with that.
You did, Coach. You did, because it's all about in how you deliver the message and to how they're able to receive it. And as a society changes, the kids change as well. Greg Kampe with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. He is the head basketball coach for the Oakland University Grizzlies. And speaking about Oakland University, can we shift a little bit and talk about the upcoming season? How are things looking?
Well, you talk about change. As everything in the year 2020, every day's new. We have a plan, but that plan could change. By the time I walk out of my office, they could call me in and tell me things are changing. So we've moved the start of the season back to the 25th of November. We've gone from 31 games to 25 games, 26 games. We start Thanksgiving weekend. Right now, our opening game will be at Xavier in Cincinnati on the 25th. We are not going to travel anywhere early outside of the metro state area, the 3-state area where we can get on a bus and go and play. We have one game scheduled in Oklahoma. If that continues and we have it, we will charter to it. So we won't be putting the kids on an airplane. It'll be a private plane. And right now we're wearing masks in practice. We're social distancing, where kids aren't in their locker room. To come into the building, they have to sign off to come in. We take their temperature when they walk in. We go to practice. Their face is covered during practice. That's not an easy thing for them. That's been a real struggle to play basketball with your face covered. And I really hope that the powers that be change that. I think Michigan's the only state in the country right now that's requiring that, because all my colleagues at other schools they're not wearing masks during practice, but I'm hoping that changes because it's really tough. And then, we start full practice on Wednesday of this week. So 2 days from now, we start. NCAA allows 20 hours a week of practice, and that starts on Wednesday. And we've been very fortunate. Our players have been on campus since the end of June. We will start testing weekly now. When the season starts, we'll test 3 times a week. But right now it's bi-weekly, and in all the COVID tests we've had no positive tests so far in our 14 players and our staff members and that. So our kids are doing a good job of keeping themselves out of the mainstream, staying away from the parties, staying away from college life, and just worrying about, being able to play basketball. That's their dream and their goal. So they're doing a great job of it.
Oakland University head men's basketball coach Greg Kampe joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. Coach Kampe, if and when the season does begin, give us an overview, give us a look into what OU basketball is going to look like in 2020. Kind of an overview of who are the key players, what are we looking at, and what are the prospects for this Oakland University team?
Well, I really hope we play because I think we have an outstanding core of kids that we have a chance to be really good. The last couple of years have not been typical Oakland years, and I think we have a chance to get back to where we've been for years and years. A team that can run it up and down the floor. We can really shoot the basketball. Our weakness is going to probably be we're probably not going to be a great rebounding team. I would say the other weakness is just experience. We've got a lot of young kids. We've got 7 new players, a lot of youth in there, but very talented. Rashad Williams, Dan Oladapo, Kevin Kangu, a guy named Blake Lampman. I think he was on the all-freshman team last year. Those are our guys. Those are the names that you're going to hear a lot about that are going to score the points. But I think we'll be deep. I think we'll have a lot of different ways we can play, a lot of different lineups. And I think I'm going to have a freshman or 2 that are going to be they'll be on the all-freshman team and maybe even a freshman of the year type player. So I hope we play because I'm really excited about the group.
Coach Kampe here with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Always great having you on with us. We appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck in the upcoming season. Before we let you go, anything maybe we didn't ask that you want the public to know?
Well, I just need to know if my COVID hair, if I need to keep this or not. It's been, when you get to my age, I don't want to cut it because it may never grow back. So I'm trying to decide whether going to the season with all this hair or get back to the normal thing. So, anybody's got any advice for me, send me an email and I'll listen to you.
I will say it's definitely a look, but I think if anyone can pull it off, you can pull it off. You're a trendsetter right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've always been that, for sure.
Maybe you should put a poll out there on the Grizzlies page and see what people think you should do.
Right before the season starts. Maybe should I keep the COVID hair or not?
Coach, we so appreciate your time, and we wish your team the best of luck in the upcoming season. And we so hope that they get to play, and they get to play a full season as well, because these kids are working so hard. And it's like you said, it's not just basketball to them, it's their dream. And for so many of them, it's their future and a part of their future as well. So we thank you and your entire team over there at Oakland University and all that you're doing.
Well, thanks for having me on. Anytime you need anything, let me know.